Quick, which came first, Big Mac or the Whopper? You'll be surprised to learn that an ingredient in one of America's most iconic candy bars was actually smuggled past German U-boats during World War II. And that salad dressing you probably have in your fridge right now, it started at a fried chicken restaurant in Kansas City. Wild, right? The 1950s were the golden age of convenience food. America was booming, families were moving to the suburbs, and everyone wanted meals that were quick, tasty, and fun. As time passed, plenty of products came and went, but these are 12 classic foods from the 1950s you can still eat today. Stick around to the end, because one of these snacks has been around for over a century, and you've probably been eating it wrong your whole life. Burger King Whopper. When the Whopper debuted in 1957, it cost just 37 cents. That was considered expensive for a burger at the time. Burger King co-founder James McLemore wanted to create a burger that would set his restaurant apart from the competition. His idea? Make it bigger than anything else out there. The Whopper was flame-grilled from the very beginning, giving it the distinctive smoky taste people still love today. The Whopper beat the Big Mac to market by over a decade. McDonald's didn't introduce their iconic burger until 1968. Although ownership of Burger King has changed hands 6 times, the Whopper recipe has remained largely unchanged. Burger King has been owned by Restaurant Brands International since 2014. You'd be happy to know Burger King removed all artificial preservatives in 2020. Through it all, the Whopper remains the king of flame-grilled burgers, with about 2.1 billion sold every year.
America, the choice is yours. Burgers are bigger at Burger King.
Eggo Waffles. In 1953, 3 brothers in San Jose, California changed breakfast forever. Frank, Anthony, and Sam Dorsa invented the frozen waffle. Originally called Froffles, a combination of frozen and waffles, the name was changed to Eggo because of the eggy flavor customers loved. The Dorsa brothers were already in the mayonnaise business, so they knew their way around eggs. But it was their waffle iron that became the real moneymaker. By the late 50s, Eggo waffles were flying off freezer shelves. Kellogg's eventually bought the brand in 1968, and the rest is history. The famous slogan, "Lego my Eggo," didn't come around until 1972, but it became one of the most recognized catchphrases in advertising history. Way much easier to say than, "Let go of my Eggo."
Lego my Eggo.
Lego my Eggo, Jessica.
Trix Cereal. Silly rabbit, Trix are for kids. You've probably said this at least once when you were a kid. General Mills introduced Trix in 1954, and it was one of the first fruit-flavored cereals to hit the market. Pour a bowl and you get these bright, colorful puffs that burst with sweet, tangy fruit flavor, raspberry red, orangey orange, and lemony yellow. Trix was created as a sweeter spin-off of Kix cereal, which explains the similar name and original round shape. In 1991, they switched from balls to fruit shapes, then went back to spheres in 2007. In 2018, fruit shapes returned after over 20,000 fan requests. Talk about playing tricks. The Trix rabbit first appeared in 1959 and has been trying to get his hands on that cereal ever since, making him one of the longest-running advertising mascots in history. In all those years, kids have only let him eat the cereal twice, both times because fans voted to give the poor rabbit a break.
It's the rabbit, and he ate some Trix. Silly rabbit. Trix are for kids.
General Mills Cocoa Puffs. Here's another phrase we bet you've said as a kid. I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Since 1958, General Mills created Cocoa Puffs as one of the first chocolate cereals marketed directly to kids. The idea was simple. What if breakfast tasted like chocolate? And not just any chocolate. The puffs were made with real Hershey's cocoa in their recipe. The chocolatey puffs are light and airy, with a satisfying crunch that holds up surprisingly well even after a few minutes of soaking. The mascot, Sonny the Cuckoo Bird, debuted in 1962 or 1963. His chocolate sugar-induced craziness has entertained generations of kids at the breakfast table. In 2009, they cut the sugar content by up to 25% after complaints about sugary kids' cereals. But in 2020, they brought back the retro recipe, claiming it now delivers more chocolatey taste. Some things are just better the old-fashioned way.
I'm Cocoa Puffs! Cocoa Puffs!
Gorkish Big G!
Big Hunk. If you've never heard of a Big Hunk, you're missing out on one of the most underrated candy bars. The Golden Nugget Candy Company introduced this big boy in the early 1950s, and it's exactly what the name promises. A big hunk of chewy, honey-sweetened nougat packed with whole roasted peanuts. The texture is unlike anything else. It's dense and chewy, almost taffy-like, with a subtle sweetness from the honey. Then you hit those crunchy peanuts scattered throughout, and you've got this wonderful contrast of textures. The pro tip is to microwave your big hunk for a few seconds to soften it up, making it gooey and easier to bite into. Some fans swear by putting it in the freezer instead, which makes it shatter into bite-sized pieces when you bite into it. Either way, you're in for a treat. Today, the Annabelle Candy Company has been producing the Big Hunk since 1970, when it acquired Golden Nugget. They also own Abba Zaba and Rocky Road bars.
Big Hunk and America are building a partnership that will span generations. The only candy so gigantic it can be seen from space. Big Hunk candy.
Buitoni Pasta. Buitoni Pasta has been around since 1827, but it didn't reach American homes until the 1950s. Founded in San Sepolcro, Italy, by Giulia Buitoni, who literally pawned her wedding jewelry to start her business. She started making pasta in her home and eventually built it into one of Italy's most famous food companies. Over 100 years later, Giulia's great-grandson, Giovanni Buitoni, and his wife, Letizia, were visiting the 1939 World's Fair in New York to promote Buitoni products. When World War II broke out, the couple was stranded in America and unable to access their money. Letizia pawned her jewelry so Giovanni could open a pasta factory in New Jersey. How's that for destiny? Within 15 years, Buitoni had factories in both New Jersey and Brooklyn. The Buitoni family sold their company in 1985. Nestle once owned the brand. Today, Buitoni is run by Tuscan Brands and is still known for its refrigerated pasta and sauces. Not bad for a company that started in a humble kitchen almost 200 years ago.
Casa Buitoni, the home of real Italian fresh pasta, where mealtime is always a special time.
Prego, sedetevi.
Buitoni Fresco.
Chef Boyardee Pizza Mix. Let's stick with Italian cuisine. Do you remember making your own pizza at home? You might have made it with this pizza mix. Introduced in 1952, this was one of the first at-home pizza kits available to American families. It came with everything you needed: flour mix for the dough, tomato sauce, and grated cheese in a can. Sure, it's not pizza from your local pizza parlor, but you made it yourself. Hector Boyardee, yes, that's the real spelling of his name, was an actual Italian immigrant chef, not a branded character, who had cooked for presidents and celebrities. He simplified his name to Boyardee so Americans could pronounce it. For many families in the 50s, Chef Boyardee was already a household brand. During World War II, his factory ran 24 hours a day, producing military rations, employing 5,000 workers, and cranking out 250,000 cans per day. Who hasn't reached for a Chef Boyardee can for a quick snack or even a meal? Although the packaging and probably the recipe have been updated over the years, you can still find Chef Boyardee pizza kits on store shelves today.
Watch their faces light up when they see America's favorite pizza, Chef Boyardee pizza, complete with cheese.
Peter Paul Mounds Bar. Peter Paul Manufacturing Company created this dark chocolate and coconut combination, which became an American classic. The Mounds Bar has been satisfying coconut lovers since 1920, but it really took off in the 1950s. Crack one open and you get the tropical sweetness with coconut filling, moist and chewy, wrapped in dark chocolate that's slightly bitter and rich. What a contrast with every bite. While most candy bars shrank during World War II sugar rationing, Mounds was one of the few that kept its original size. When Japan cut off Peter Paul's coconut source, the Philippines, the company created Flea Fleet, 7 small wooden boats that smuggled coconuts from the Caribbean while evading German U-boats. These ships not only kept Mounds in production, but also provided intelligence to the U.S. Navy. The military was buying most of Peter Paul's production, about 5 million bars shipped to soldiers every month. Talk about a sweet victory. The famous "sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't" slogan, linking Mounds and Almond Joy, debuted in 1977. A year later, Peter Paul merged with Cadbury. Today, Hershey has owned the Mounds bar since 1988.
Together, the perfect taste treat of coconut and chocolate. Yours to enjoy in every luscious double bar.
Pez. Pez candies were invented in Austria in 1927 as a peppermint breath mint for adults. The name comes from Pfefferminz, the German word for peppermint. But in 1952, Pez came to America, and everything changed. The company introduced character heads on the dispensers and fruit flavors to appeal to kids. Suddenly, the candy wasn't just a treat. It was a toy that became a collectible. Some of the first character heads were Santa Claus, Popeye, and Mickey Mouse. Today, there are over 1,500 different dispenser designs, and serious collectors will pay thousands of dollars for rare ones. A Mickey Mouse dispenser once sold privately for $7,000. The Haas family, who invented Pez, still owns a majority stake in the company. The Pez factory in Orange, Connecticut, is one of the state's most popular tourist attractions. People come from all over the world just to see how those little candy bricks are made.
Just fill him with the Pez candy refill. Gee, he's fun. Have one.
Libby's pumpkin pie mix. Do you remember that on Thanksgiving, you ate a slice of pumpkin pie but never saw the pumpkin? There's a good chance it was made with Libby's pumpkin pie mix. Introduced in 1950, they've been the king of canned pumpkins since. Their pumpkin pie mix makes it easier than ever for home cooks to whip up the classic holiday dessert. Just add eggs and evaporated milk. Pour it into a crust and bake. Add a dollop of whipped cream and you've got America's go-to Thanksgiving dessert. Libby's grows pumpkins on about 5,000 acres in Illinois and processes around 100 million pounds of pumpkins each year, enough to feed America many times over. And that secret pumpkin pie recipe Grandma guards so closely, there's a good chance it came straight off the back of Libby's label.
It is so good. Make sure to top it off with way too much Cool Whip or whipped topping of your choice.
Wishbone salad dressing. Wishbone salad dressing was born in 1945 when Philip Salalami opened a restaurant in Kansas City called The Wishbone. His mother's recipe for Sicilian-style Italian dressing was so popular that customers started asking if they could buy bottles to take home. Salalami realized that the dressing was more important than the restaurant. He sold the Wishbone and focused entirely on bottling. By the early 1950s, Wishbone dressing was being sold in grocery stores across the Midwest. It was one of the first bottled Italian dressings available to American consumers. Today, as part of Conagra, Wishbone makes over 40 varieties of dressings and is one of the best-selling salad dressing brands in the country, all because one restaurant owner listened to his customers.
Bits of young garlic, mild peppers, floating in golden oil and vintage vinegar.
Cracker Jack. Do you remember singing this during the 7th inning stretch of watching your favorite baseball team play? Buy Me Some Peanuts and Cracker Jack has been part of the Take Me Out to the Ball Game since 1908. But it was during the post-war boom of the 50s that Cracker Jack really became synonymous with baseball, fairs, and good old American fun. Who didn't love opening a box and eating molasses-flavored, caramel-coated popcorn mixed with whole roasted peanuts? The coating gives each kernel a satisfying crunch with buttery sweetness. Then you have the prize inside, In the early days, you'd find tiny metal toys, decoder rings, and baseball cards. These days, it's usually a paper joke or a temporary tattoo, but the excitement of finding that prize is still there. If you shake the box before opening it, the prize will rise to the top, so you don't have to dig through the whole thing with sticky fingers. You're welcome.
Yep, when you're really good, they call you Cracker Jack. New butter toffee and original. If it's Borden, it's gotta be good.
There you have it. 12 classic foods from the 1950s that you can still eat today. What is your favorite food from the 1950s? Let us know in the comments below. If you like this video, watch some more. Here's another video on more classic foods you can still eat today.